Legends. Mothman, owl or monster. Related from http www.blogster.com. And a Bendai Mothman mystery solved. Has the mystery of the Mothman finally been solved? For those of you unfamiliar with the Mothman legend, the Mothman is a large creature of some kind. Some say bird-like, others say Sasquatch-like. Still others say demonic looking, and a few even say it looks like some kind of ultra exotic extraterrestrial creature, which has no parallel in our earthly experience. Another link you can check out, http www.mothman.us/current.html for more information, maybe pictures. But legend has it that every time the Mothman starts to show up in whatever area it is to warn of some impending disaster, usually within, say, a single city or a specific area within or around a populated area, and usually landing upon a certain well-known feature of the area, like a bridge that's about to collapse, a tower or skyscraper that's about to burn down, the roof of a school that's about to be demolished by a mudslide, etc. But the appearance of the Mothman, which is said to have a deep, piercing gaze that just penetrates right through you and can put you into a deep hypnotic trance, is always considered a foreboding warning of some imminent tragedy and the sudden and unexpected loss of a large number of lives in an unusual way. For instance, the collapse of a major bridge in West Virginia with a whole traffic jam of cars atop it, sending everyone into the river below and to their deaths. I don't think everyone died, but a lot of people did. Or in the former Soviet Union near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, or the collapse of the World Trade Center, supposedly. There were several reports of a large winged black humanoid birdman flying around the World Trade Center some months before 9/11. And there is even a now famous picture taken as the World Trade Center's buildings were collapsing of a giant bird humanoid creature in the sky flying in broad daylight. It's copyrighted or else it would be displayed, but I think the link to it is up there that you can go look at. A Mothman-like creature has even been reliably reported by both American soldiers and Iraqi civilians in various places around Iraq just before large-scale carnage and death is about to occur. Several writers like John Keel, who wrote the book The Mothman Prophecies, which inspired the movie with Richard Gere, have looked into this strange phenomenon and found it goes back into American lore at least 250 years and probably more. It also seems to be related somehow with the UFO phenomenon. That figures on. Lore about the Mothman also goes way back into indigenous Native American folklore and mythology, where it is sometimes called the Thunderbird or the Death Bird and various other names, but always its sighting served as a dire portend of imminent doom and destruction. It has been said that a host of these foul, demonic-looking creatures were seen terrifying and haunting the Mayans and the Aztecs before the arrival of the white man, who decimated their cultures, and it was seen in great numbers by the Plains Indians before the white man came and killed all the buffalo, which the Mothman was said to feed on, and which kept it complacent and hidden from sight of man in its giant nests. The name Mothman was a recent designation given to the phenomenon by a small-town newspaper reporter who couldn't think up a name for the creature and turned to his love for comic books, monsters, and heroes for inspiration. Thus, the name Mothman was born. But now, some cryptozoologists, which are scientists who look for evidence of species long thought extinct, are saying that they are pretty sure there is a super large owl living in northeast, at least in the woods of West Virginia and the Appalachian Mountains. This on may be a genuine cryptid, meaning a creature unknown to science but nevertheless present and real and still unexplained. There has been evidence of super large owls found in the fossil records in that area dating back several hundreds of thousands of years ago, with a wingspan of over 40 to 50 feet. That's an owl large enough to easily pick up a cow or buffalo and carry it away to a giant nest to feed its young. It would be 6 feet tall while standing with its wings closed. Could you imagine coming upon this thing in the middle of the night? So, is it just possible that the Mothman is not a monster or a demon or an extraterrestrial after all, but a bona fide cryptid? A relic of evolution left over from prehistoric times, which may have been living deep inside Appalachian mountain hollows for hundreds of thousands of years, and has only rarely emerged to be seen by human eyes and scare them crapless due to some change or variability in its natural environment or food base. And if you'll pardon the pun, who knows? Perhaps this giant owl has a giant brain that is telepathic and can indeed force you to stand paralyzed just with its piercing gaze. Maybe, as the Native Americans say, it's even intelligent and has a memory of its history and a spirituality all its own. There is at least one unconfirmed report of a giant owl swooping down to pick up a small boy out playing in a farmyard in the Appalachian Mountains back in the 1930s. The giant owl screeched with such a terrifying sound at the boy struggling and biting at its feet that the boy's father and brother and farmhand heard it from the barn and came out and threw rocks and sticks at it until it dropped the boy from a height of about 15 feet into a soft earthen livestock yard. Ain't that just lucky? Relatively unhurt except for a few scratches and bruises from the giant owl's claws and probably some hellacious nightmares. However, when the family reported the incident to the local authorities, they were ridiculed and laughed at and eventually came to wish they had never made the report. But to further confirm their story, possibly the exact same giant owl was seen again about 100 miles away, not more than 3 months later, by a well-respected and sober businessman out on a solitary fishing and hunting trip up in the Appalachians. The shaken fellow who reported seeing the giant owl fly overhead with the limp carcass of a dark brown horse dangling from its talons said it was the most terrifying moment of his entire life. He said every hair on his body stood on end with that giant bird flew over when that giant bird flew over with a roaring swoosh and looked down at him for just a second with those large piercing eyes. I know exactly what a field mouse feels like now when he spots an owl swooping down from overhead with those damned eyes that cut right into you and turn your blood to ice. And it ain't a good feeling, let me tell you. So what do you think, everybody? Comments are welcome. Is it Mothman or is it a giant owl? So leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, please like and subscribe.